Hello everybody, and welcome again to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And I would just continue with this Yashica MAT 124G because I think, well, there was some dust behind the on the lens element, both on the front and also on the back here. There seems to be something in here. So I would like to show how you easily can go into it. And yeah, let's have a look. I will just go straight forward. I think the tool I actually made for the retaining ring here is this one. Well, it was not that good, so I will go on with a compass lens tool, whatever it calls. And to get that ring loose, set it to L, because in that case it will make it easier when you unscrew it, because it will just go to the end of here, and it will not fool around. So have the whatsoever tool you use to unscrew this. So that, well, you might think, why didn't you do that at first? You were in, well, it's not every time one have to go into the lens and go into all the taking the whole lens assembly out. So I would think, okay, make a separate video for that. And yeah, I think it'll work better in this case. So and that's it. Then we take off the leather with a spade tool, kind of. It could be a knife or something, but it has to, in this case, it's not glued in place. It's just some self-adhesive double-side tape, I guess. Make sure not to pull too much in the leather when it's up here. So just be gently. The front of this camera is actually plastic. Well, at first I thought it was metal, but no. It was actually plastic, yes. So it must be a newer model in this case. Now, to get into the to the actual front lens, you think, okay, well, I can just take it off with a whatsoever lens rubber tool. But even if it fits, I tried, the lens front lens is actually front lens assembly is actually sitting very tight, so you cannot just unscrew it with those rubber tool like this, even if it fits perfect in the hole here. So in this case, well, it's actually just to take off the whole front cover, which is not that hard. And it sits with 5 screws, one there, 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 and there. Not the other one, no. Only those. But hold on a second. Before we take off the front, we need to set the exposure to B. See, the B. And the aperture is actually go the other way. It has to sit on 3.5. That's it. That's our start position. So now I can unscrew all the 5 screws here. And it's not that hard. So there was one screw missing in this camera, So I put another one in, even if it was a little longer, but as long as it works, it's fine. Another thing is make sure the MNX lever is all the way up there and the self-timer is all the way up to there. And just to make things a little easier, I'll just put the lock, the shutter button lock on again, because it will just make it a lot easier when you put it back on again. So this is just much better to do that, and you can just have it aligned and then screw on the retaining ring. Doesn't have to be too much, so it will just make it a lot easier. So it sits there and stay on L. So now we can actually take off the front here, and it should be easy in a way. Well, maybe have to push a little here, and we just make sure the aperture is set to 3.5 and then take it off. This is how it looks underneath. And since I've been into it before, I set some mark here in line and also up here almost in line. Yeah, it's okay. It will not be that precise. And I also did another thing. I also set a mark here with the B and over here on the 3.5, just to make sure it's correct before you put it back in again. Now onto the lens element, the front lens. See, it's here, and you could probably use a rubber tool, kind of. It could be something like this gasket, or a piece of very sticky rubber, and put it on and turns. So you can see it sits quite tight, and not really anything you could unscrew with the gray one, because they are not that sticky. So now we're in here, and there is actually a lot of dust, and there was one that mentioned that you must not put LED light torch through a lens. Why not? I mean, I could do the same with this, a normal Mac light. You probably can see there is, well, there's not much battery on this light, but I mean, it's just easier. I mean, the torch is stronger, and there are a lot of dust you probably can see here. So I'll just clean the lens surface with some, yeah, you guess it, lighter fluid. Yeah, in this case, if it was fungus, I would use hydrogen peroxide, but not in this case. I will just use some lighter fluid. It's called Extra, but it's really good. And I will just use a stand here. It will make it a little easier to actually hold the lens in place. One of those. And of course we need some cotton buds. Not cotton buds, but some lens tissue. In this case I will use the PEC-PAD, which I think is fine. And no, I'm not sponsored by any company. I buy my own stuff here. So just have Okay, we take out 2 pieces, it'll be fine. So there. Now let's see how it will go, and I guess it will be a lot better than it was. And I actually found out something, that if you use sensor cleaning fluid to cleaning a lens element, you probably will take away the black stuff around the lens, which is not good. Well, as you can see, it helped a lot. There are probably some hazy front, but it could be, I mean, it could be not necessarily the case, but I think there's some dust on the front which didn't look that good. Maybe there's something inside, I don't know yet. But for now I'll just clean the front. And with the help from a cotton bud, it will make it easier to come around here, especially on the edge. So, okay, wow, it looks much clear, much more clear. I mean, that's much better than it was. So before I put it on again, I just discovered that there was something dusty in here. If you probably can see. Yeah, there's something in here. And then we can wipe away the rest of it. So I think it's fine for now. Yeah. Then add the lens element. So there. And then we can use something rubber tool. That's it on the front. I could probably do a lot more, but in this case, and just also to give you some inspiration about doing that kind of stuff. So I will put the cover on again. Yeah, I could also make something with the viewer lens. We can just do that so things looks a little better. Yeah, we give it another go. And with the help from a cotton bud, we get all out to the edge. So that's all fine. Now put the front cover on again. Make sure the shutter button is correct and the 2 exposure and the aperture is correct. So let's see what's happened here. Yeah. And just to make sure the aperture is actually working, So we can just fire the shutter and see if the aperture is actually working, and it does, which is good. And we can also change the exposure and see if, yeah, that's all fine. So I'll just put the screws on again, and there are probably some dust on the front here, but I'll just blow it away. And as I said, is some kind of inspiration if you want to do that. And it could also be that there is much more. This is just a little quicker thing to clean the lens element, and then unscrew the retaining ring here. So off for that, and then we can add the cover here, which can only sit in one way. So there. And make sure it goes under the self-timer lever. So now we can add the locking lever, and just to make sure it's not pressed down into the front here, I'll just use a plier to hold it on, and it will also make it more easy when you add the retaining ring. Hopefully. Sometimes it not goes as it should. So here we are. And then I could put it onto the shutter button is open, and then tighten the retaining ring. So fine. Then put the leather on here, the MNX. It has a tight fit here. So on. Now you see, this camera also have a back lens, of course it has. So I need to go on here on the back, and the lid is not possible to be taken off. When I was in the camera at first, I saw there was something on the back lens. So I made a tool out of a 17mm wrench and simply made 2 pins. And it goes on to the 2 pins on the back lens group. And you could possibly use a lens spinner, but well, I like to make that kind of tool so it will make it easier. It has to go into the 2 notch, and then you can unscrew it in a very easy and safe way. So Sometimes it can be a little tricky to go in here. Let's see if we can use a screwdriver here to make it loose. You can see somebody else has been in here. So not loose yet. But then we could probably use the one of those lens rubber tools to probably unscrew it. So there, and gently take it out. And here we are. Because I saw there was something on the surface here. You probably can see there is something. It's difficult to see. I know it's not easy to see on camera. So I would think, okay, I will go for it. I'm not sure if you can take that apart, or is it too it's just put together. Now let's see what we can do. Some lighter fluid and see how good it will be. Definitely an improvement. Much better. I mean, really much better. So we'll also take the other side as well. And we could probably also use a small what do we have? One here. A small cotton bud to go around the edge. Yeah, I would just do another go here. Wow, that's really an improvement of this back lens group. So I will just put it back in again and say that's all fine. There was something in here. So it can be put back into the camera. One have to put it upside down to get it proper in a more safe way. It's not that easy. Going backward to catch the thread. Here we are. So you can see it's not that hard to do. So, and then I just need to tighten the the lens element and say that's all fine. So that's fine. Then we can close it proper again. Say, well, yeah, there's some dust here on the front. And there's also something on. Where is my lighter fluid? So going around in circles and then out. So now it's much better, and well, all I can say is if we just set it, the exposure to something and fire the shutter, well, it works as it should. So yeah, that was all for me in this case. Hope you enjoy the content and can probably use it. Yeah, that's all for me. Bye bye, see you sooner.